Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Welcome to 3C Amplified. I'm your host, Jacqueline Destremps, here to highlight the businesses, nonprofits, and individuals collaborating to amplify their impact in the community. This series is sponsored by Another Hand Advantage, where I create marketing strategies for community-minded small businesses and nonprofits that fit your schedule and budget while making your brand stand out in front of your audience. And joining me in our virtual studio today is Bridget Pettis, founder of Project Roots and former WNBA player, coach, and executive. Welcome to the show, Bridget.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and it looks like you're actually you're joining us. Actually, not from Arizona today. You're back in Indiana.
Yep. I'm in the Midwest right now, back home in Indiana, where I'm from. My family is originally from, and enjoying a lot cooler weather.
Well, tell me then a little bit about Project Roots. That's what we're here to talk about today. Tell me a little bit about Project Roots and your journey leading up to getting that started.
Well, I started a community garden about 3 years ago, and I was growing a large amount of food. I was just a rookie out there growing food and didn't realize how much food can come from the land. And by doing that, I wind up linking up with a food bank where I was delivering my food to when I would grow at the community garden every year. And from there, it just kind of launched to start a community garden and to start producing more food and to getting it into areas that were, not as provided for. So I went to the South Phoenix area where a lot of the African American community is, and we started implementing our community garden and educating our community on growing food, which is the main focus of Project Roots, is to get our campaign to encourage people to start growing their own food. And then various things came out of the Project Roots, where we started our soup kitchen and also our donations still to the food bank, getting all the fresh food, organic food out in the community. And then we're also out in the farmers market where we're making accessible organic food to our community as well. So a lot of this came out of this half acre that I acquired out in South Phoenix. And we've been growing for almost a year now, and it's just been amazing.
Wow, that's great. So how did you even think to start with the garden? Was gardening something you've always enjoyed doing, or?
Well, I'm an Indiana girl. It's in the land. It's in the land. But no, my mother always grew. She always had plants and stuff around the house. I was always growing marigolds as a little girl. I always loved flowers, but we never really got into the food. My grandparents did. We just kind of left it. That was one of the things that got lost in our history of growing our own food. And so I got revitalized somewhere in there and woke everybody up in my family. I came back home to the Midwest to help my mother get her garden, to assist her in her garden, and my sister to get her garden going. So we've been, a lot has happened from that first launch of growing food, because it's important. It's one of the essential things today, period, in life. We've been hit with this pandemic and all that's going on. And I remember going in the grocery store and in Phoenix when it all went down, in one of the grocery stores, didn't have a lot in there, but all the produce was still there. So people were buying all the food that was not as essential to the body in this time, and especially with health the concern for health. And we weren't buying the real food. And just to get our community back used to and understanding that this is the food we need to be eating.
So going back in kind of your journey to getting to that point. So as we mentioned, you used to be in the WNBA. You played for the Phoenix Mercury here in Phoenix, as well as a few other teams. Actually went on to be an assistant coach, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So during that time, was growing your own food, was that important to you at that time as well? Or where did that come into play then?
I think it came later in my, definitely not when I was a player. It just came later. I mean, it was always important. Food was always important because I used my body as my tool. And, this is the workplace. I was running and jumping and doing all of that with the body. So the athlete is a little bit more in tune. You got to make an adjustment to life. And some of the things that I was eating when I had a very active lifestyle just didn't sit well with me. And so I had to start making adjustments as a coach, and because I wasn't being as active. And then my players, just to encourage our players. So it stayed with me because I became a teacher of it. And I knew that these players needed to be aware of the importance of it as well. And my family, which we have dealt with a lot of healthcare concerns with. I've recently lost my sister to diabetes. And just knowing the pandemic around food just became a very big concern for me.
Right. And you mentioned when you started with that community plot, how did you come across that?
Well, I was growing at a small community garden in Central Phoenix off of Indian School and Central called Agave, where we also have a garden out there. And I had a row, and I was so happy every year I would go out there and plant my seeds and get, and grow. And I was really just every year was like an experiment, and just, I didn't know what I was doing, but I just was learning by
Yeah.
It's no different than basketball. When I was young, I just went and tried it, and I kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. So it was the same here, just a passion that I fell in love with. But more than the passion, I saw the necessity of it. I saw how it was impacting my own life and just how important it really is. And we talk about the issues that are concerning us today, and this is the number one. Someone asked me recently, do you address racism through food? And I'm like, absolutely. This is the number one thing. Like, it's my community. I'm back home in Gary, Indiana. It's my community that has the effects of what food can do if we're not putting in the right things. And a lot of us don't know about, the importance of organic food. And it was a discussion if organic food is safe. Let's ask a kindergartner that. Should we have food? Should we have food with chemicals or without chemicals? So it just started so organically, me growing food, just in the most innocent way. So it just went from one row to a half acre, and I'm out here in the Midwest and hoping to get more land just to grow more and just to put more out in our community.
Mm-hmm. So what point then when did you move to that half acre? I have to imagine there's quite a bit of difference in the amount of food you're getting out of one row to a half acre. So was it that, did you already have in mind what you wanted to do with all of that food, or did you just end up with a bunch of food and go, okay, now I got to do something with all this? And that's how the community was built out of it, and giving back came from that.
Yeah, I wish it was a plan. But it wasn't. It was really organically created. I had been volunteering at the food bank for a while, so I knew where I could take food to. But then just the other avenues of getting food out through our CSA boxes that we get out, throughout the week, and getting it through the community. And then also our soup kitchen, which started in our home. And then when the pandemic hit, we started in my home, and we were in a restaurant after hours making the soups that were going to the food bank as well, food that we were growing. And then we went back to the home and we're still kind of doing that, but we're transitioning to our soup kitchen. It was just a slow process in our community. So it organically happened just as it organically grows.
Yeah. So how then did you go from, so you got that plot of land? Was that through, are other people out there in that same area? Do they have plots of land as well, or is it sort of like a
Yeah.
co-op, or
So it's a total of 6 acres of land that is at Spaces of Opportunity, and a lot of the farmers have about a half acre to an acre if they're growing that amount of food. But it's just different projects that are out there, different farmers out there doing different things. Some are growing particular things, whereas we're growing more seasonal, whatever is seasonal. I grow all of it if I can get it in there somehow, some way. And then, but what we're doing what we're doing also with ours is it's a community garden. So we're edging a roll the same way I did and just start learning, the land and learning how to grow food off of it. But it's so many farmers out there, and we're all putting our little, our magic into it and our love into what we're doing. And it's been pretty amazing.
So some of the produce, then you talked about those CSA boxes. So how are people accessing that?
I'm sorry, I missed that. It kind of went out. Say that again.
So how are people accessing then those produce bags that you have? Is that something that goes out into the community? Because I know you're helping to help support the homeless community in that area as well. Or is it the purchasing of those bags that money is going towards helping?
Yeah, the purchasing of those bags is what's helping for our CSA. Now, as far as the us giving out to the homeless community, that's through our soup kitchen. And that's also, I wouldn't say our homeless community through the food bank, because those are more families that are coming to get that food. But yeah, so the CSA is more just our outreach without in the community. Any funds that come from that, it helps us to continue to buy produce from the other local farmers. And this is the thing about us, is that we are a nonprofit. So our food really, that we could sell it, but it's really for the community. And we do all donation base at the farmers market. So you can come shop and get the vegetables that you need. But we also teach in mindfulness. Like, we want to be mindful that this food is for everybody. So you don't want to come in and hoard and take all the food because it's free and you don't have to put a large. And so we just want to make sure that people understand that everybody has to eat. Everybody has to. We're all human. We all need to be here, and food is one of the things that we can share.
Yeah, I imagine that entire experience of the growing of the food, and like you mentioned, bringing it. moving locations. That's one of the pluses to doing this. One of the pluses to doing this virtually is that I can connect with people all over. But then that's the one downside, is finding that perfect sweet spot where we can get a good connection.
Yeah, I know. I probably need to have a fork or something in my hand and walk around. But I think I got a spot. All right.
And also, too, if you turn off video, sometimes if we just go audio only, the signal might go through a little better as well.
Okay.
So what I was saying was, as far as that community and that connection, you were mentioning, the process of the growing and the sharing of the food. I feel like it really lends itself well, kind of going back to when you were talking about community and some of the issues that we're facing right now, whether it be something inside or outside of before or after this pandemic, issues that we're facing in our communities right now, the way that kind of brings people together. What are some of do you have any, stories of ways that your organization has brought some people together that maybe you wouldn't have seen before?
Well, just to get us started, I've been a part of the Phoenix community since I was a player, and just reaching out and just to get it started and just getting the support of our community has been phenomenal. The Phoenix Mercury has been a part of helping as well. when we launched our tree planting event, we had so much of the community come out and plant. We planted over 100 trees.
Wow.
We planted over 800 seedlings to get the community garden going. So I met a lot of people that I would have never met before that just, we launched off through social media and people just saw it and came and started being a part of it. And it's just been very impactful. And it's been amazing. I've just been so grateful to be a part of it.
What are some of those connections that you made early on? I know the nonprofit itself is still fairly new in that sense, but what are some of those connections that you made early on that have really helped grow and move you forward?
Lux Coffee, that's a big one. They've been a part of what we've been doing for years. Their support, Pizza Bianco's. I mean, just the National Basketball Retirement Players Association. They came in and helped. They remembered I was an old player. They was like, yeah, she might need some help. But it's just been, I don't know, just slowly, gradually community, community has been a part of it. So that's what I love it.
And moving forward, what are some goals then that you have? I mean, where do you see Project Roots going from here? Is it, like I said, the growing is actually happening in Phoenix right now, but you're in Indiana. Are there plans to expand this type of program?
Yes, that's why I'm here. Besides my family alone is trying to, get their gardens growing, but we're looking for land out here to start a farm here. My family is, and be able to extend Project Roots. But just to the biggest expansion is in our educational program. We're linking up with the University of Arizona. We have master gardeners that are going to come out and continue to teach our community how to grow and different ways to save water, different ways to fertilize our plants naturally, and just connect more with what we're trying to do as a whole and have a healthy community.
Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned before, this all kind of happened. It's all been really organic and kind of moving with it. Did you ever see this? Let's go back to when you were gardening that row of vegetables. Mm-hmm. Did you ever see anything like this coming out of that?
Yeah, I can't say it. But then, I would say that about life. When I was a little girl and I picked up basketball, I never saw myself going to the WNBA. So much has happened by me just going out there and trying it and seeing what can come of it. And it's been beautiful.
There seems to be a lot of parallels when you're talking about kind of your journey through with basketball and now your journey with a nonprofit. What other types of kind of associations can you make between the two? Have you ever stop and think, hey, something I did early on in life or while I was a player has really helped me, or a coach, or has really helped me get through this?
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, because it's very hot. It's very hot in Arizona. So all the suffering that I went through in sports.
Yeah.
The challenge, it's a challenge to have to get up in the morning, 6 a.m., start taking care of your farm, your garden, we have chickens at home, learning a different way of living, learning to live off of these resources that we're not familiar with. So this has been a challenge itself, learning a new way of living. But it's a better way and it's a healthier way. But everything is I started Project Roots because it's from the bottom. It's the root, it's the ground. It's, it's where you got to get down and start just as plain as it can be. And that keeps me rooted in all that I'm doing. That keeps me balanced in all that I'm doing. Everything goes back to that. Basketball goes back to that. My family goes back to the root. Just, how to care for my community goes back to the root. Caring for myself, then I can care for my community. Mm-hmm. and just, waking up my community as well. One thing that's really at the forefront is the lives of Black people. If the lives of Black people is important, and if we matter, then how we feed our children matters. How we what we put in our own bodies, it matters. How we speak to each other matters. How we treat each other, it matters. And that's the most important thing for me right now, is that we get our community healthy. And when we get our community healthy, when we're healthy, we're feeling better, we can make better decisions on how to care for each other in a healthier way.
Yeah, most definitely. With the gardening and such, obviously you're not there right now. Somebody is out there taking care of that field, that acre plot. Do you rely a lot on volunteers or other community partners to help out with that?
Absolutely. Project Roots is volunteer based. We want the community to get out and be a part of it. Doing your part, I mean, you're gonna impact the community immediately. Everywhere this food is going, exactly what it's going to do in our community. So that's, for me, that's like number one. Everybody should serve. Everybody should do their part. Come plant a seed. All you got to do is plant one. That's enough. It's going to feed a family. And we've been blessed that we do have employment as on staff now. We have a garden manager who's out there every day, and she's a veteran. She's a veteran. Francis Xavier, she's our garden manager. We also have a produce manager, Trail Hayes. She manages all the produce and makes sure that it's getting in the right locations throughout the community. And everything else pretty much from there. And Dion, of course, she's running the whole thing. So Dion, I just came up with the idea. She's running it. And everything else is volunteer based. We want volunteers to come help at the farmers market, come help at the soup kitchen. Once we get it back into the restaurant, come help be a part of the garden. We get up early hours, 6 a.m. It's not too hot, but you can get that sun rising. It's so beautiful out there. So yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful environment to be around. It inspires you to want to go and do your own. That's the point of it, to get jump start and get you to go ahead and throw that tomato plant in the ground and start your first garden.
I love how you mentioned that, it's an easy way to give back, and you really do see a difference right away. I like how you said you plant one seed and you can feed a family. And I think for anyone who's, kind of dabbled in home gardening, I remember the first time that I planted zucchini and I thought, oh, well, I should probably plant like 5 or 6 of these. The next thing you know, everybody in my neighborhood was getting zucchini. I had zucchini out in a box by the front, on the mailbox. Please take zucchini. But it's so true, in that little gesture, like you said, that little gesture of coming out and planting one seed or 20 seeds or whatever that may be, or helping to tend to that garden, or like you said, the farmers markets, just helping with setting up at the farmers market. It all comes together, and it's all a way for helping a family, and actually even more than one family, because you just imagine how many different lives are touched by all those different vegetables and things that are coming out of that garden.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. And not just, we're eating vegetables, but we're eating organic vegetables. It's a big difference. It's a difference with eating real food that come out of the ground, that's been nurtured and cared for. And not only are they getting the benefit of experiencing that, but the mental health that's going on in the world today, like getting back to a peaceful environment, a calmer environment, a place of stability. Outside offers that. Nature offers that. We grew up with a mentality of that it's us and it's nature, but we're a part of nature. We've just excluded ourselves and made ourselves more superior, but we need the bumblebee. We need the bugs. We all matter. All of it. It all matters, or we would not be here.
So how many different farmers markets then does your produce go to?
I believe we are at 3 for right now, and we're at a vegan fest. So we're at Uptown Spaces of Opportunity. We're in Ahwatukee, and we're also at a vegan fest somewhere. I don't know, but I will get you the information.
We'll make sure all that. I know, because I think I started following you on social media, and I think I saw that was actually coming up this weekend here in Phoenix. There was a festival coming up. It's funny how a lot of times people, that aren't from Arizona, when you talk to them about gardening and farming and things like that, everyone just assumes it's a desert and asking, well, what exactly can you grow there? There is a lot, but you mentioned if you could, you'd fit even more. But what are some of the things? What are some of the plants then, or vegetables? What are some of the things that you have found the most, I guess, success in or joy out of growing? Is there any one thing that you really love?
Well, I am a big green tomato lover, so I love the green tomatoes. But I love the tomatoes. I love growing tomatoes. I also love growing the watermelons and the collard greens, just more of my cultural foods that I love, but also the herbs, the basil, oregano, just the thyme, the dandelion, different things that have been healing to the body. I've been very interested in growing them and just getting the medicinal purposes out of food instead of just nutrition. So a lot can grow in Arizona. We grow seasonal, with the weather, and we shade. Shading is very important. But yes, I agree. Water is the most important thing. We've been fortunate. We got our water tank. We needed a water tank to collect our water because we were running on a flood water system. And we got it. And, we've been much more conservative with our water, making sure that we water our plants, but not overwatering and wasting water. And it's just been a school for me all around, just learning all about it.
I love that I think what I'm hearing is you're learning as much about this as it goes along as probably other people who are involved.
Absolutely. And every day, I'll be a student for the rest of my life. So, yeah.
So that education part that you talked about then with that partnership with U of A, what types of programs do you see coming out of that?
One, our children's education program will come out of it. Now that school is back out, we're expecting to be part of the Roosevelt School District outside activity. So this will be a place where kids can come and, have enough space to social distance and to be outside and to connect more with nature. That's number one for us right now. And then also just educating our community, our families, mothers and fathers, educating them on growing their own. We also have a garden box program where we're putting garden boxes in homes to help jumpstart the growing. We have a carpenter on site who teaches young boys carpentry and young girls carpentry as well. We're building that program out to get job opportunities going. And the education program is to grow your own food. So that's the main. That's what we really, really want to jumpstart. We want our whole community to just wake up on the importance of knowing if not to put ourselves in any panic or nothing, but if those grocery stores ever went empty again, where would you get your food from?
Mm-hmm. You mentioned one thing, something else comes up. There's so many different possibilities it sounds like with what you're doing with Project Roots.
Like I said, it's organically popping up.
I know, everything just keeps popping up. Well, but I think what a lot of that is attributed to is really just your passion for what it is that you're doing. And as you mentioned, it all kind of going back to the roots. And once you go back to that, it's really just, you can just see the little shoots, the new plants, new ideas popping off here, popping off there. And coming out with new programs, new things to give back in the community. those volunteer opportunities, yeah, I mean, you've talked a lot about kids coming out to the garden and them being involved. There's not a lot of opportunities out there in nonprofits for children to volunteer. So is that something then, I assume with this project, with Project Roots, you're able to accommodate families and younger children?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have the space, we have the safe environment. If the earth isn't safe, then nowhere's safe. Just saying, like, if we gotta give and it makes us give reverence to Mother Earth. Like, we gotta connect more with her. We gotta connect with the air. We gotta connect with the soil. We gotta connect with the trees. And children have this innate connection. They didn't lose it. And a lot of us adults have disconnected a little bit into our own worlds where we don't feel that essence in life from nature. But my heart is just so open for our youth to stay connected to nature. You'll just see a lot of the problems that we have. The temperament of life will go down because it has a calm in it that our artificial world doesn't have to give. And I really want to encourage it more for children to be a part of it. I want to help children get out and connect more and to grow food. Their hands are naturally nurturers because get them back out there in the soil and grow.
Things really slow down when you're gardening and when you're tending to plants. Things really slow down. And I think going back to, like you said, technology, there's a lot of chaos and a lot of it's fast paced and things are constantly changing. And it really teaches you to slow down. And there's that patience of, okay, you've got the seed. Now you wait for the seedling, and now it's going to be a little while before you have to wait for that vegetable, to come off of there. But then when it does, and you have that harvest, it's just so exciting then. And one of the things that really drew me to your organization is I've always had a thing for gardening myself, but community gardens. I was a student at ASU, and during my undergrad, I actually was part of a service learning project where we went into the schools in South Phoenix and we started little gardens at the school. And we were paired up with 2 or 3 students, and I was, kind of freaked out. Here I am, just this, 19-year-old, and I've got these little 3rd graders, and oh my gosh, what's this going to be like? What are they going to do? What are they going to say? And it was just so exciting when we got them in the garden, and just like you were saying, their hands are just naturally, nurturing. I automatically went to oh my gosh, the dirt's going to go flying. And they just love just getting in there. And the days that we were not able to go out, I remember one of them asking me why we didn't come Monday through Friday, why we were only there one day a week.
Yeah.
And so that, that's always kind of stuck with me. Like you said, just watching children in nature. And like you said, it's just innate. As we get older, we get further and further away from it. And just really bringing it back. That's what's so exciting, I think, about your program. And then just all the different ways that it's giving back in the community. And I only imagine there's 10 more different ideas that are going to pop up somewhere along the line.
Yeah, I want them from you. You seem like you got some.
I like when you were talking too about the planter boxes. Where did that idea come out of?
Well, I mean, it's a much easier way to get started. A lot of people are going with the garden boxes just to at least get it going. To grow out of the land, I mean, you off the ground, you actually have to know the soil and test it and things like that. And a lot of people don't want to go through all of that. So an easier way to just jumpstart your garden is to grow out of a garden box. I provided garden boxes for my family here. It's been a lot easier. It gets everybody motivated a little bit faster. It's like a seedling. A lot of times people don't want to grow when you're first starting with a seed. Because that process, like, you got to watch it grow from there to there to there and up. But to jumpstart your garden, to get that motivation going, a lot of people like to start with seedlings. So a baby plant already, and you don't have to go through the baby stage and watch the nurturing from the seed. So I've just seen that it's a way to get things jump started.
What would you say, kind of looking back on from when you started Project Roots? Is there any one thing that you can say you're maybe most been most rewarding part of starting the Project Roots?
I'd say two. One thing was that the most rewarding was the community. Just seeing how the community has been coming together and being supportive and wanting to be a part and connect. That's been amazing to see. But also, I don't know yet.
Well, that's good though. I mean, that means, like you said, you're a constant learner. So it means that right around the corner, the most rewarding thing yet could be next week still.
Just the people, just meeting the people and all the, I've been able to connect with so many growers all over the world from this, and just the knowledge that's coming about growing and getting more information and how to make things easier. I would say that is the big, big reward, is that it's a lot of people that's been doing this long before me, and now I'm getting information that, better ways to do it, and it's just been phenomenal. And the people that I've been working with, I mean, everybody is so passionate about it. I don't think you want to sit out in the sun and grow food if you didn't have a passion for it. So I've had a beautiful community to work with. And I just feel like, it's just starting. This is going to be the new wave. I really feel eating our own food will be a new way of living.
The new old way.
New old way, right? Yeah. Like it's brand new, like we invented it.
So, I mean, what is your connection with basketball still? And what are you get out there egging on past teammates to start their gardens as well, or?
Always. Well, right now they're all in Florida and they're playing. The season is going on. It's been a really challenging time right now to play basketball, especially that's one of the reasons I walked away, is to just focus on my community. It's been really hard for the players to play right now with all that's going on in the world with the social unrest. But definitely, I know everybody is doing their part. This is just my part of making an impact. But I know when I'm like, once the season over, y'all better get home and get to y'all gardens.
They'll show up to little planter boxes on their doorstep.
Yeah. And quite a few interested too. So yeah.
Good. No, that's great. What else? Anything else coming up with new ventures? I know we've talked a lot about what's going on with Project Roots, but you seem like the type of person that you've always had something going on. Any other projects coming up?
Well, besides me out here in Gary looking for property and land to start growing out here, that's our focus. I've also about to start my juice company, Be Juiced, where we doing juices. I have my favorite juice that I make all the time. It's kale, ginger, celery, green apple, cucumber. That's my best.
Oh, wow.
That's the best. That's the love of my life. So I'm gonna planning on launching that real soon and getting our juice company out and going. But other than that, it's just growing. Growing. Yep. Being in the farmers markets out here in Gary, Indiana, we plan on getting out here and being a part of their initiative that they got going.
So what is it that the community can do to help support Project Roots and how you're moving forward? For those people who are listening, we've talked about volunteer opportunities. You mentioned early on some businesses that were some great connections and early partners with you, but what else can we do to help support the mission of Project Roots and the community?
Well, one, I thank you for inviting me because we're able to get out in the community and get out, and people know that we're here. But financially, we're always looking for donations and support. We still need a truck for our farm. We doing farm work. I've been doing farm work in a Prius. And and it's been pretty interesting with all the stuff that's been in that little Prius. And, just getting things to make it more functional. We could use a produce truck. We also are looking to get our soup kitchen more mobile because our soup kitchen, when we make our soups, we make them in cups and we take them to the food bank. And it's for the homeless community that's on foot. And they grab a soup and they also provide a sandwich. We provide the soup. And that's how they eat their daily intake of food. We would like to get a mobile kitchen so we can go to the areas that we are aware of that our homeless community is at, because we know that people have to walk to this food bank. Mm-hmm. And it's not the easiest thing to do with the distance of where they are, our homeless community, which is in the downtown area, if a lot of people have seen in that area. We want to get in that area if we can to service that community. We also are just raising funds for the different things that we're doing. My hope is to get a shelter to remove the community off the street that don't want to be on the street. Mm-hmm. We're the richest country in the world, and there's absolutely no reason for us to have a homeless community, and just to do our part. So my intention is to give back to this community, to give back to the people that don't have the opportunities that I've been given the opportunities with. So just to shine light on it. We're always looking for volunteers. Like I said, donations always help us. Getting the word out, going to our website, looking at the things that's out that we have available coming up. We have a fall festival coming where we're gonna have the pumpkins out there. I think we're growing the pumpkins.
Oh, wow.
We're at the pumpkin patch. And just a lot of different things that are happening out at the spaces of opportunity you can see through our website. And that's projectrootsaz.org. And I don't know.
Well, I can definitely attest to, I found out about you through social media. I think actually Local First Arizona may have posted something, and I immediately was like, oh my gosh, on the show, I must talk with you. But I can attest to lots of great content out there on social media and finding ways to be involved. And I love the whole project and ongoing projects. Like I said, it sounds like something that you said, lots of different ideas. It's so exciting that you have those people in place, though, that can help you execute on those. It sounds like you've got a great team behind the scenes there. They're helping to keep things going. And just excited to see where this all goes. And especially there in Indiana, seeing it take off here in Phoenix and seeing it take off elsewhere as well.
Thank you. It has been pretty amazing to see. And the support has been just phenomenal. And hopefully, we can make a big impact on what it is that we're trying to do with our number one purpose, to get other people to grow their own food. Yeah,
definitely. Well, thank you so much, Bridget. I was going to wrap up here, and you mentioned the website. Definitely, I noticed all your social links are on there as well. I encourage people to reach out on the website. I saw dates on there when volunteers were needed, an easy way for them to sign up. So that's really exciting. But if anybody is looking to reach out and partner, I can tell them that you guys are all very responsive over there. Dion reached right out to me as soon as I sent over information about wanting you to appear today on 3C Amplified. So thank you so much. And I encourage anybody listening now or who's listening to this later, as this is turned into a podcast, to take a look and see what you're doing. At the very least, get an awesome bag of produce delivered. I saw that you've got different areas of the valley where you're delivering produce. So that's awesome also.
Thank you. And thank you for just putting us out there. I thank Charlotte for reaching out to you and getting us out there. It is so important today more than ever that everything that we do is done with care. What we eat, what we think, and how we speak.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's a great message to leave us all with. Well, you've been listening to 3C Amplified. I hope you enjoyed listening with the show today and joining me and Bridget. Until next time, I hope you... Until next time, I'm Jacqueline Strums with Another Hand Advantage. Let me help create a digital marketing strategy to put your organization's mission in front of your target audience and highlight the impact that you're having. And if you're also a fellow change maker and want to build connections, create those relationships, and collaborate with others to make positive change, make sure you're joining our online community built to support and engage people like you wanting to amplify their impact in communities around the world. Visit 3camplified.com/community to learn more.